Split the vote.
Welcome back to another thrilling episode of Split the Vote on the Purple Pants podcast, the ultimate Supervan Survivor podcast, where we break down every twist, blindside, and every forgettable moment from the world of Survivor. Today, we have three boys on the pod,
Three boys on the pod.
Three. Oh, okay, I was doing a remix. My bad. Sorry.
Well, I am Rob, one of your co-hosts of Split the Vote, and as always, I'm joined by my amazing and insightful and occasionally chaotic co-host Timothy. And today we have another incredible special guest on the pod once again to discuss another great Survivor finale. Our Zaddy, the baby boy, a true Survivor icon, rocking the signature purple pants, and the face of the Purple Pants podcast, Brice. Tim, Brice, how we feeling today?
It's the Trace Leches. I'm excited.
Yes. Listen, I'm more of a chocolate person. It might be Trace fudge, Trace German chocolate. So yes, but I'm excited. I'm ready. Christmas time is like one of my favorite seasons. I love Survivor 49's finale, so I'm ready to get into it all.
Definitely.
Do you celebrate Christmas, Rob?
I do celebrate Christmas. Yeah.
Oh. What's a childhood lore that you both remember, like your most iconic Christmas present?
Ooh, I think probably the most iconic Christmas present I ever got was my mom one Christmas had given me and my brother a big box. It was a huge box, and we rip open this box to find just a piece of paper. And I'm a little like disappointed because I'm like, like when you're a kid, like you're hyped up, like you see the biggest present and you think it's like the best thing in the world. And I was pretty bummed out to see this piece of paper. And I look closely and it's not just one piece of paper, but it's letters. And it's like I'm on a Survivor challenge, actually, honestly. So it's a bunch of letters just spread out. And my mom tells me and my brother that we have to figure out what this word is spelling. And we are probably like 9 at the time, so words are a little difficult. But as we hone our Survivor skills and do this challenge, the word spelt out trampoline, and then we went running to the backyard and see a big trampoline put up in our backyard. So yeah, that was pretty exciting. That was probably like one of the best Christmas presents I got.
Yes, we need to get your mom on a Survivor production team for creating these challenges.
Okay, listen, shout out to Miss Sarah for real. I feel like my favorite, not Survivor gift, but my favorite gift was when I was maybe like 8 years old. I'm opening presents in my living room. I was real big on Spider-Man, and I still am real big on Spider-Man. I remember wrapping or like unwrapping the present under the tree, and I got a Spider-Man themed room, right? Curtain Spider-Man, bed Spider-Man. I opened up the gift. It's an Xbox 360 Spider-Man theme. So I was climbing up the walls. I was jumping around. I just remember being so excited because Spider-Man was my whole life, and Spider-Man still is a big part of my life. So I would say it's my favorite Christmas gift.
Okay, those sound very iconic.
Listen, it was so much fun. You got a favorite gift you ever got, Brice?
I do. I might have been around 8, and Brice always been Brice, okay? And so I wanted an easy bake oven, but not an easy bake oven. They had like the easy bake ice cream makers. And so similar to Rob, I come down Christmas and there's this big box under the tree, and I'm like, I don't know what it is. I open it up, and I don't know what it is. Like, I'm like, what is this? And my brothers had to tell me, like, it's an ice cream maker. So I was like a little disappointed because I wanted the easy bake oven ice cream maker, but it was an actual like ice cream maker. And so when I like kind of put the pieces together, I was like, yeah. So that was probably my most iconic Christmas present because I was confused. I didn't really know what it was. Then when I figured it out, I was happy. But we only really made ice cream out of it like one time. But I was very excited to get my ice cream maker, even though I still want the easy bake oven ice cream maker. But you know what? Shout out to Barb because, she did what she could do.
Yes, no, really shout out to Miss Barb for real. And I feel like the gift just keep giving because I feel like I got a present with the Survivor 49 finale, right? I feel like we unwrapped a really good finale season. a finale episode for this season, and I feel like I don't know. I really feel spoiled by what we got, so I'm happy.
Yeah, I feel like after an intense season, I mean, Jeff really put into perspective at the beginning of the merge where it's like, you guys are potentially playing for a spot on season 50. It's about to get hot right now. And we have Savannah take the crown in a very dominating fashion, in my opinion, I guess, at the end. So I want to ask you guys, like, how did you feel about the season at large and Savannah as the winner?
I think on a rewatch, Survivor 49 is up there for one of the best new era seasons. I think that with no gaps in between, watching it through, watching the pre-merge to the jury to the twists and alliances going back and forth, I think it's gonna be one of the top 10 on a rewatch. Watching it through week by week, it might have felt at times a little bit slow of like, okay, these folks in power, okay, these folks might survive or somebody else might go home. But I think overall, 49 has been a really solid season with a lot of fun characters, with some great immunity moments, and just a lot of laughter and a lot of like light, which I always love about Survivor.
I agree. But I think that point that you just made, Tim, is such an understated that every time I get on a podcast, I always have to bring up James Jones because he's like my Survivor person that calls me after every episode and he just talks for 45 minutes and I listen. But James Jones always says a rewatch of a season is so different than an actual watching a season live. And at first I'm like, he don't know what he's talking about. But I think there is something, and I feel like maybe somebody in graduate school or maybe somebody in getting their PhD needs to do a study on that, because binging a Survivor season is so different than watching a Survivor season live, right? Because I think sometimes the seasons have ebbs and flows, and I think 49 is no different. 49 definitely had a lot of ebbs and flows. I was entertained the whole time, but I know the community at large kind of feels indifferent. But I think that, like you said, Tim, if we were to binge 49, I think that people would be pleasantly surprised. I enjoyed the season. A very highlight of the season or this episode, because before we recorded, Rob was like, what y'all think? My big moment of the season was the jury got to speak. And I feel like in the new era, they just like put up categories and people talk. I like the fact that we got to hear from the jury members and they were asking specific questions to specific people. It takes me back to old school Survivor when people used to get they ish off. People used to like get they lick back. And I thought it was amazing. There was one in particular question that I thought was great. And then I watched some of the exit interviews and I heard that people weren't necessarily a fan of it live. But me as a viewer, I loved it. We could talk about it now. We could talk about it.
Oh, I'm happy to get into that. I'm assuming the question that you have in mind is when Christina gets up there right on the stand and she finally has her time to speak. And I think she only asks one question. Is that all? And it's directed right at Savannah, where she really tried putting her social game on blast, asking Savannah to name a close member or family friend of everyone on the jury. So Brice, let me ask you then, like, what were your thoughts about Christina's directness and bluntness in that moment?
Bitch, I gagged. I was in New York and I was like, ah! Now, again, I'm gagging from a fan perspective. And my fan perspective is like, put her on the spot. Like, this is Savannah's final test. Put her on the spot. I loved it. Like, I love kind of sort of messy questions like that. And I did see like an interview with Sharon Sharp where Rizo said that the jury wasn't happy with that. And I think Sophi S even pushed back on Christina and was like, you can't just ask that question to Savannah. You need to ask it to everyone else. And so I know that even Rizo said that he was upset with it. And I can get it from their perspective. But as a fan that remembers Corinne, that remembers these type of questions, I absolutely loved it. And I think although Savannah didn't know everyone's name, I feel like she navigated it amazingly, to the point where it's like, Yeah, I don't really know your mom or dad name, but I know you love your kids. I know you live on a farm. Like, I feel like she answered it very eloquently. And so it's a win-win. But I love questions like that because it's the final
Right.
juiciness that we want. I hate when people be like, I think even Jack on Survivor News said this. It's like, Rob, tell me how you outlasted, how you outwit, and how you miss me with them questions. Get to the nitty gritty. Let me know my turtle's name when I was in 4th grade. Tell me.
Period. I feel like I personally love the question too. When I was watching it and Christina asked the question, Savannah was like, I don't think I can do that. And Christina was like, I like for you to try, please. I was like, oh, so it's getting real, it's getting messy. Like she is really putting her on the spot because it's like, okay, I'm Christina, I'm on the jury. Sure, you can play this game, you can win these immunities. What about these bonds? What about these conversations? What about seeing us as people? Because at the end of the day, sure, we play the game, but we people playing the game. And I'm a person that is gonna vote for somebody to win. So if you can't tell me nothing about like personal life or like one person in my family, did we really connect on that island? It's like, sure, I get it if it's like other people on different tribes, but this is merge. We all was in each other's face at some point. And so when I'm watching it and I saw the question, I was here for it because I'm like, this is not only interesting and funny because it's like, okay, you still gonna have to try, but then it's like you really have to show your social game. And I agree with you in saying that I think she navigated it real good and flipping it to be like, okay, I can't do that. But what I can tell you is that y'all love everybody. And I don't want you to vote for me because I remembered your family. I want you to vote for me because I did that, period. And if you think I did it, vote for me to win. It reminded me of like, so I've been in this writing circle, right, y'all? This whole semester. At the end of it, they're like, okay, we're going to do introductions like we did at the beginning of the year, but you got to introduce somebody else. Because Timmy was not prepared for that question, right? I love it. I was not ready for it. So I introduced this girl. I'm like, she studied history. She was in communications. I'm like, she studied something about France. That was right. But I could not tell you nothing more. So I relate to Savannah being in that spot. But hearing the question, I was here for it as a viewer.
Well, see, I felt like I had such a strong reaction to the question too. And of course, like the question is directed in the way of let's test Savannah's social game in this moment. Let's see how she's going to respond. But for me, maybe like in the perspective of like being like a mental health counselor and knowing that it's not just about being able to like regurgitate names of the people close to somebody. I think when you're out there for 26 whole days, you're not just going to be like the bonds that you create. It's not just about like, oh, well, do they know the people in my life? It's like, no, like, how did we spend time with each other? Were they a person I was able to laugh with, have these memorable moments? I think the relationships on Survivor go so much deeper than just being able to name my husband's name. Like, yeah, like I might take offense for you not remembering, but at the same time, like, think about Savannah and the position she's in. She like $1 million are on the line in this moment. She's been thinking the entire day about how she's going to pitch her case, what moves she did, why she made them. Like she's not thinking about Steven's Aunt Jenny, who's back home sitting on the couch in this moment. So I just feel like it's just kind of a senseless question for Christina to ask in my perspective, because I think there's more to the relationship that Savannah would have with everyone on the beach. Granted, Savannah had no relationship with Christina, so I'm not like maybe I am surprised by the question, but the fact that it's coming from Christina, I'm not too surprised about. But it's just like, what's like your MO with this question? Is it to put her on blast to be like she doesn't know or care about you guys? Well, that's clearly not true because you obviously had all of these other moments on the island where you're able to really show the bonds that you had with this one player.
Let me split the
I,
vote with you real quick,
okay,
Rob.
because I
I
was about
gotta
to.
say
Okay.
this. I'm gonna say, you know how it's always you got friends on the jury. They're gonna give you an alley-oop. They're gonna throw that question to make you look good. If I'm your op and I'm on the jury, I'm going I'm gonna make you look bad to help somebody else win. Like if I feel like you crossed me and I'm a little bitter and the way you did it just didn't vibe with me, and you feel like you up here, I'm not gonna try to tear you down necessarily, but I'm gonna highlight those weaknesses. I'm gonna make those weaknesses bigger. I'm gonna put a magnifying glass on it, just like an ally would put a magnifying glass on some of your victories. So I feel like it was fair, in my opinion.
Yeah, I want to push back on you, Rob, a little bit more in the sense of one, I believe Christina voted for Savannah, right? Am I right? So one, she voted.
Um,
Oh no,
I don't
did she vote
think
for
so.
Sophie?
I think, well,
I think she voted Sophie, yeah, because
Okay,
Jawan was the vote for
for
Sage.
Sage.
Yeah.
mhm.
hmm
So, but I'll park that. But like you said, all day they're going to be on the beach thinking about their final pitch to the jury. And why I love Christina's question so much is because I'm sure it was not going through their mind. I'm sure it wasn't something that was rehearsed. And so it put her on the spot. And I feel like in a game like this, I want you to be, if I'm about to give you $1 million, if you're going to win $1 million, I want for you to be put on the spot. I want to see something that's not rehearsed. And so that's why I loved it. Is it messy? Yes. But again, I feel like Savannah is the winner of Survivor. We see how she answered it, right? Like she navigated it so well. And I was thinking like the next day, if I were being put on that spot, like, and I didn't know everyone's name, like you were saying, Rob, we had so many other connections out here for these 29 days. I would navigate it through my personal relationship and connections with them and like what we, how it worked. And I will also say, like, I think I forget who it was, but she was just like, I don't really know much about you, like, right? Or it was like, Jawad, I know you really love your siblings. I don't know their names. Her also being honest, right? Instead of trying to
Mhm.
like play around with it and be like, Timmy, your mom name is Monica, Julie. Like, instead of like just playing, she like, I don't know. But I know you love your mom, and I know your mom got you an Xbox when you was in your Spider-Man phase of your life. Like, and so I
Mhm.
just, again, how she navigated it was so interesting. But I also thought, because I'll be on the Reddits and stuff, and people were complaining about that question. And then people in the comments were like, but y'all say y'all want old school Survivor back. But y'all say y'all want all of this stuff back. And here it is, we have it. And now y'all complaining. Which one is it? So
Mhm. I
you
feel
know,
like they hate it when it comes from certain players. Like I think about this is reminding me of other final tribal council questions, like the question I think that came up in 48's or 46's final tribal around what would you do if you win the money, or what would you do with the money? And people didn't like that question either. But it's like this is the time for the jury to ask whatever question they want to ask. If you don't like that question, oh well, you're not the person that's voting for the person to win. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like tough tatas in that moment. But I understand how some people might not like it, but I feel like both of those questions were good TV moments. And as a viewer, I feel like I enjoyed it.
And those are the kind of questions that like the jury, like that's what their perspective for who's gonna win is kind of based on. Like we don't see Christina give Savannah the million because, or her vote for the million, because
Mhm.
she just probably didn't like her answer enough, and probably more beyond that too. But then, and probably for the question for 50, or God, I'm trying to think of who asked that for 46, but that's like a very real thing that was happening in old Survivor too, where it was like, what's your intention with this $1 million? Like, I'm giving you a lot. Like, there's a lot of people here. Oh my gosh. Is it? Oh, I can picture her face. Like Denise, who had gone fourth, like all those seasons ago. I'm like picturing her face. Maybe it was in China or something like that.
was it was it
Mm.
Brenda and Denise? No.
Oh, that sounds right. Yeah, that might be right. Oh,
But
anyway.
you know what was interesting though? You know who was over their mouth and names?
Oh,
Sophie B.
Sophie.
So
Yeah.
somebody knew. It wasn't like this is just like the most absurd question in the world. Somebody was paying attention.
See,
I don't
but
know.
like even with that, like and like what you said before, Tim, with like the okay, like you want to tear down Savannah this moment and then highlight somebody else. Like Christina didn't really take that opportunity to give like whoever she was like going for, like if that was Sophi, right? To like the spot to be like, okay, well, now here's your like softball, like here, like hit this question out of the park. Like we just tore down Savannah, and now here you go. So I just feel like maybe there was a lack of, or like she just could have done more with her spot in that moment to, I don't know, just maybe like get more out of Sophi. But at the same time, I do think that like there were other players like Sophi and Sage that had blunders that kind of led to them losing as well. And I know I was very hard on Sophi when she had this idol for, or the knowledge is power the whole season. And I thought she should have made that move against Rizo to take his idol to secure her own spot. Because I think a blunder of her was that she didn't play an individual game. She played Savannah and Rizo's game.
Let's get into maybe a little bit of the salt in the wound as to why Christina might have been bitter. To backtrack to Final Five, right? Here we are at Final Five. Savannah wins another immunity. At this point, she's tied for the most amount of immunities for a female player in Survivor, which is awesome and amazing, right? I thought she was going to beat the record. Okay. If I had a bell, I would be dinging it too. And so she gets to also pick somebody for a reward. And so she already took Tres Leches to this vacation, not vacation, like staycation over at Sanctuary. So she could pick Sage or Christina. She picks Sage. So to Christina, okay, you didn't pick me, right? We already had beef. You didn't pick me. And then you vote me out on top of that at Final Five. So it's like even more salt to the wound of being voted out in that moment. I do think the picking of Sage maybe was smart because, you know, Sage is more of an emotional player. You never know what might have happened if she would have won that final four immunity challenge. But from seeing it from Christina's perspective, it's like, oof, like really?
Another hot take that I have, Tim and Rob, and again, I love Christina. I do. Like I'm close with Christina. I'm close with a lot of people on this cast, but I'm close with Christina and her family, and I love her down. I was shocked that they ultimately decided to pick Sage over Christina, and respectfully, like I love Christina. I don't know if Christina would has enough to win per se, right? And so that's why I was so shocked. Like I thought 2 episodes ago, I'm like, oh, Christina's going to the end. Christina will be the third person there. So I was kind of shocked that they picked Sage over Christina. Did you two expect that, or did you think that that was a good pick? If you want to win the game.
I think if you want to sit next to the player that is absolutely like no resume, like Christina's probably the player that you want to sit next to. I was not a fan of the way that Christina really played the game this season. I think she had a lot of social mobility, but there wasn't a lot to her game that she could have been really sitting there with the end to argue, rather than just that she has friends on the jury. But honestly, when I think about Savannah's decision to be like, I want to vote out Christina in this moment, I think a lot had to do with fire, of course. And if I'm Savannah and I'm thinking it's either immunity challenge or bust, and if it's bust, then who is going to make fire next to me? Well, I mean, we kind of learned in that episode, in that moment, that Christina is the best fire making person on the beach. So I think in that sense, she's the perfect person for Savannah to vote out in that moment. But when you think about the other people that voted with Savannah in Rizo and Sophi, Christina is not the person to vote out in that moment at all.
Yeah, I definitely feel like I was surprised too, because we really didn't see that side of Christina's strength in the show. I feel like we saw so much of her emotional strength from being a caring person, being a mother, like reflecting on all of her life experiences to bring her to where she is now. We saw that side of her strength, but we didn't see the strength when it came to making a fire. So to me, to hear that fire is now a threat that Christina is carrying with her, and not like, oh, well, she has friends on the jury. To me, it kind of felt like, oh, it felt kind of out of nowhere to see this side of her being brought up. And it also made me think about, like, if I'm the other people, I'm already admitting defeat at Final Four immunity because I'm telling myself that I'm gonna lose. Even Sage is pitching to Sophi, like, I'd rather us go against each other in fire than going against a Christina. But all that does is make it seem like, well, we can't beat Savannah, which didn't end up happening. So as I'm watching it, I'm like, well, at this point, somebody's gonna have to beat Savannah in fire. Why not keep Christina around at that point? Because if y'all feel like Savannah is just gonna win immunity and pick Rizo, then it's like, I think that is the perspective they had. But at that point, I feel like you're counting yourself out in an immunity challenge.
Another random thing that's popping into my mind is that, like, what happened on Survivor when we would hide the things that we're good at, right? Because don't go out there and be making a fire. Unless it's like they tending on need to make it, but like that is something that could have potentially got Christina to the end, right? Like if she wasn't the fire maker and everyone knew that she was so good at fire, like I miss the days, not miss the days, but like just remember that for you future Survivor players out there, don't go out there showing all of your skills because it really could come back and be the difference in you going out fifth or you going out third.
Who was it that one season who was like playing like they bad at fire? I can't remember who it was, but somebody was like, oh, like, this is so tough,
Right.
But in the back, they was just like, boom, sparking it up like it was a walk that you do with your cousins around the holidays. You get what I'm saying, right? So it was somebody, I can't recall who exactly it was, but that's the mentality that I think you need to have, like to play it up, play weak, play I can't build a fire to save my life kind of mentality. So yeah, I agree.
I do think one other thing that could have helped Christina get to the end, and that could have been a move on the resume as well, was for Rizo to play the idol on Christina. He was aware that it made way more sense to vote out Sage in that moment, and that Christina is probably valuable for him in that moment to potentially take out Savannah, especially if he felt like she didn't have like that great of a case. I mean, Rizo, you've been bluffing this idol the whole season. I think it would be super poetic for you to bluff it one more time when everyone obviously thinks you're going to finally play it on yourself and then play it on Christina. And that's one more move for you that no one else has on that beach.
I agree. It
Yeah.
always makes me think like with Sophi being Rizo and Savannah, because I'll add Sage to this, right? I feel like with the right combinations, all of them had game winning resumes, as like, the kids like to say. And it just makes me think about this like loyalty mentality. And we talked about this on Survivor News this week, where I'm like, do you think the jury gives you don't hear so much in these final jury speeches that like me, Rob, and Tim, we stuck together this whole game. Like I've been loyal this whole game, right? Like we used to hear that a lot more. We don't necessarily hear that. And so for me, I just look at sometimes you being loyal, it can be a disadvantage. I feel like being loyal was a huge disadvantage to Sophi B's game. I feel like being loyal was a huge disadvantage to Rizzo's game in the sense that like, Sage been telling y'all since day 4, why is Savannah still here? We need to get Savannah out. But again, it's like you have this core Trace Leche that you rocking out. And I feel like, because I played Survivor time in my life, didn't go far, but I do know that you get wrapped up into these cores that you find that it's never the right time to break away. And so it's like, do you want to get to the end? Or would you rather get to final 3? Or would you rather make a move on the person that you've been the closest to, but that could be a huge resume booster for you? It doesn't work out and you go out 5 or 6. What do you believe is more respected?
I definitely feel like the latter, because outside of, no shade to 48, outside of 48, I feel like don't nobody really care about loyalty like that at that degree of putting it on the list of reasons to vote for people. Because I feel like you can be loyal and to the people that you want to take to the end, but if all y'all at the end, that means you haven't been loyal or haven't worked with all the people on the jury. So it's like, okay, yeah, loyalty. What was your loyalty in trying to work with me? Where's that loyalty in, trying to be honest and play the game with me? Do you kind of just shut me out at that point? So it's like, sure, you were loyal, but you want those loyal people on the jury to reward you for your loyalty. It's like your loyalty mean nothing if nobody is on the jury to have experienced that loyalty firsthand. So I feel like, with voting out somebody that you work with, although it might be difficult personally, it's something that you just got to do. Or if you just let them get voted out by other people, hey, I didn't do it.
It's
I
a
was loyal.
dance, right? Like it's a dance that you have to do. You can't necessarily do it the Jesse Lopez way, right? But like you can't necessarily do it the Savannah or the Sophi B and Rizo way to the point where it's like it's too late to make a move. And so it's just an interesting nuance in Survivor as to like, obviously you need a number one. Sometimes you need a number two, but then it's like when y'all dominate the game so well, and even though the edit, they didn't necessarily dominate it, because I've been screaming this whole time after the merge when Savannah, Rizo, and Sophi B kept saying they're minorities. I'm like, y'all are not the minorities. Y'all are the majority. Y'all have all the arsenal. Y'all have all everything. But they were playing from their backs against the wall, and that's a dangerous thing to be in. So it's just so interesting. But again, like I also give kudos to Savannah, because I feel like we as viewers, we're watching and we're like, Savannah is a beast, Savannah. But there, in some of my memory, right, like Sophi B has come from nothing, right? And she's like now here. Rizo is this flashy guy with this idol, make all these moves. And like Savannah was in the back seat, right? Where it kind of, on the appearance level, it looks like Rizo and Sophi B kind of had sitting in the front seat. And so again, that's just another kudos to Queen Savannah's game, where it's like we, the fans and the viewers, see how dangerous she is, but she really aligned herself with the right people that kind of shield. Like, I don't like the term shield, because I don't necessarily think they shielded her, but it's like you in a house of mirrors, where like the reflection, people was just bumping into the thing, not knowing which way they were really going. But I really do think Savannah in that trio, she was Beyonce. But we love all the girls, but I'm just saying, like, she really positions herself really good, because I don't think in the game, maybe people didn't, I don't know, but I'm just saying, I thought she did a really good job, as did everybody. Like, I loved everybody this season.
Is Rizo Kelly, or is Sophi B Kelly? Who's Michelle?
Time out. Rob, can you name all the members of Destiny's Child?
I couldn't name one other than Beyonce.
Can you name me 3 Destiny's Child songs?
No.
What do you know of Destiny's Child?
They're a group of singers. That's really all I know. It's just that's it.
Do you know what Destiny's Child and Survivor's correlation is?
Couldn't tell you.
Timmy, get him off my screen, okay?
Okay, well, welcome back to
okay. We splitting the vote. I'm done with Robert. Okay, Robert. History lesson for you. Destiny's Child was a girl group coming up. They had 4 members: Beyonce, Kelly, LaToya, Latavia. They were managed by Beyonce's father, Matthew Knowles. Their first album, Destiny's Child, went really well. #1 single, No, 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 No. Their second album, The Writing's on the Wall. First single, Bills, Bills, Bills. Second single, Say My Name. By the second single, there was some turbulence in the group. LaToya and Latavia felt as though they weren't, I don't really know what they just felt as though they were being preferential. Is that a word? Okay.
Yeah,
they felt like there was being some preference giving by Matthew Knowles. They said they was working 12 shows, only got $1,000. So they sought for a new manager, Robert. They served Matthew Knowles with legal papers, and Matthew Knowles said, okay, I got your legal papers. Take them legal papers and take Latoya and Latavia. Y'all can go home. So then it was just Beyonce and Kelly. Then they added 2 new members, Farrah Franklin and Michelle Williams. Then this is on their second album, Bills, Bills, Bills. The second single, Say My Name, came out, and now we have these new girls. We like, what is going on? Where are the regular girls at? Then by the end of the promotion of this album, the girls said, Farrah, you could go home. Farrah said, well, what I'm gonna do with my luggage? They said, we could send you your luggage. And then it was only Kelly, Beyonce, and Michelle. And it was a turbulent time for Beyonce. A lot of headlines were going on. Guess what was the number 1 reality show on TV at that time during this, Robert?
I guess I'm gonna go with Survivor.
Ding!
And there were a lot of late night parodies of Destiny's Child and saying like, which one's going to get voted out of the group today and all of this. And so Beyonce was like, you know what? Y'all saying we voting girls out. I'm going to write you a song. I'm a survivor. And so that's where the song, which is the second single off of their third album, Survivor, comes in at. But that just give you a little history lesson, Robert. You know, I always got to teach you something when I come on here.
Always, right?
But to your question, Tim, Michelle Williams is my favorite singer. So it's hard for me, or my favorite person in the group. So it's hard for me to. So if anything, I would probably say, because Michelle's my personal favorite. So we'll say Sophi B is Michelle, and we'll say Rizo is Kelly Rowland.
Okay. That was my same kind of arrangement for the members. So it all worked out. So I really do feel like Savannah being the Beyonce of the group makes sense, as if you haven't seen already, spoiler, she's going on to 50. Rizo is also going on to 50. Now, Kelly did her solo stuff. So yeah, Rizo going on to 50 also. So yeah, it kind of all worked out for each of them for their group.
Now, let me ask y'all a question and put Rob back in his spot. Put Michelle back put Kelly Rowland back up. Okay. Thank you.
There we go.
I'm assuming y'all are, well, we know Rob is a super fan because we see buffs behind his head. So we know Rob is a super fan. Going into this season, Rob, did you know who was going to be on 50 already? Like,
the man next to me right here spoiled it for me.
Okay.
So, yeah.
We're not doing that. We're not acting like
that's
I'm
exactly
just
what
like,
happened. You're like, hey, Rob, did you see on Twitter that like Savannah and Rizo from 49 are going to be on 50? I'm like, Tim, I don't even have a Twitter account.
Tim,
so he's
you can go
lying for my
home.
name.
We will send you your bags. You can go home, Tim. We will send you your bag.
What?
Thank you. I can't. Rob, why are you podcasting with a spoiler?
You know, I still love the guy though. What's your story behind this, Tim? You're saying like it's all cap or something, huh?
So let me clear my name. You know, let me come to the front. All rise. Not 6'7". All right. So this is what happened. So every year we do a little draft. We get in our group and people start drafting, and we start.
Wait. Sorry. Just checking my phone to see if I'm. I'm not in that group. My bad. Go ahead.
Oh, it's a little from little college friends and stuff, right? And so as part of that, I'm like, okay, are we gonna draft for 50? Also, people throwing around spoilers. I'm trying to
Rob, how can he draft for 50 if this is the start of 49 and the cast of 50? They haven't even released the original cast.
I don't even know how it all went down.
Long story short, I'm like, they saying 2 people from 49 on 50, and people saying it's so and so and so and so, and I'm like, if we draft it and we want to be fair, y'all, I didn't see this information. I didn't seek this information. I did not go to the library to check out this book. I just happened to be scrolling on my little timeline on Twitter, and people like to yap their mouth off on Twitter like they know everything because I'm a Survivor fan, and all the tweets or a lot of the tweets be about Survivor. Lo and behold, I ran across Savannah Rizo on 50, and I'm like, you know what? That's crazy that I got spoiled. by my timeline. I blame Elon, actually.
Okay, I do have a question though, but like after like an episode has aired or like there's information that like post episode, I guess, that like everyone that might not be like in the know about before, like let's say like I missed the episode on Wednesday and my plans to watch it like Thursday night, and then the episode maybe gets spoiled for me during that time. Like what is like the socially like appropriate amount of time that maybe goes in between? Yeah, what's the reaction, Brice?
No, I'm sorry, because this is a sensitive subject for me, because this is something that Jack and I on Survivor News argue about a lot. Because in the past, first of all, there's only one time zone, and it's Eastern Standard. Okay. And I say that with my whole chest. It's only one time zone, Eastern Standard. So if you in Mountain, if you in Pacific, if you in Lion, if you under the grave time zone,
I'm in Central.
Don't open your phone. Don't scroll if you know. So because I'm with you, right? Because sometimes I don't know, during maybe Tevin's season when Tevin got voted out, I love Tevin Davis, and like I was emotionally connected to him, and so I waited till the next day. I just put up a little post, and Jack was like, "You spoiled it for me. I didn't watch it yet." Whose fault is that? So I don't know what the correct answer for you is, Rob, because I just feel like if you know it come on 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time and you know you 3 hours behind, you should probably stay off the social medias.
Listen, I need to mute the hashtags for Survivor. That way in the future, it's like if I'm going outside and I go on a walk and a bear attack me, am I wearing, is it my cologne? Do I smell like sausage and biscuit? I know I had a sausage and biscuit this morning. Like, how do I avoid that from happening? And I feel like the bear is the spoilers. So it's like, let me carry my bear spray. Let me mute these hashtags. So when I go on my little walk, that's actually in my bed on my phone as I'm scrolling social media, let me make sure ain't no bears around.
What's a respectable time frame for you, Rob?
I don't know. I guess I think I understand the people that maybe have like a job that prohibits them from being able to actually watch the episode Friday, like on a Wednesday, just because I lived that experience where I'd have to be at the hospital until 9:30 Eastern time, which was exactly when the episode ends. So I just had no ability to be able to watch it. So it's just like, and I'm waiting for Paramount Plus to put it online until like 2 p.m. maybe on Thursday the next day. Like I know I was always just like, I just can't, like, it's out of my control right now. But the control aspect is not going on my phone, trying to avoid all the group chats where all my friends are texting me about it, being like, Rob, what did you think? And it's just like, just gotta avoid my phone, I guess.
Not Rob said, all you unemployed hoes that watch it when I'm at work.
Rob said, y'all brokey stop spoiling my show.
What it's you like, see that meme where she's like, there's broke people around, hide your money. Oh, okay. Sorry, Rob. Okay. But no, I'm with you though, Rob. I do think the next morning, I feel like it should be appropriate. But I was bringing all of this up because I was similarly spoiled like Timmy, where just like I felt like it was common knowledge in the Survivor verse. Like people were telling me, I'm like, where's God? What are y'all talking about? Right? Like who are they? Like, I don't know. But I think one of the things that, and I loved this season. Let me just preference it by saying that I really loved this season. I thought the season was great. I do think something that took away from the season for me was knowing Rizo and Savannah were going to be on 50, because it's like, now I want to see their arc, right? I want to see. And I felt like each episode I'm looking at those two. And I felt like had I not had that knowledge, I think my perspective would have been opened up a lot more this season. Still was a great season. Still love Riz, still love Savannah. But just like every episode I'm waiting, I'm like, what's the move going to be? What's going to happen? And then they make it to the end. And like, there is no, I don't know, I want to say antithesis, but I don't think that really fits it. Because for me, I was like, oh, Rizo has to either cross Savannah or Savannah has to cross Rizo. Like it's going to be this big explosion. And so that's what I was kind of waiting for this season. I think with that expectation and it not happening, I'm like, huh. But again, in hindsight, like watching it back, really great, really good season. Like again, shout out to the Riz guys, shout out to Savannah, shout out to Sophi B, shout out to Jake with the snake, shout out to Trashy Annie, shout out to Nicole, shout out to Jeremiah. Like, a great season. And I think when we watch it back, when the kids watch it back in 2042, when it's on, I don't know, because at this point, Netflix is going to own everything. When it's on something and people watch it back, I think that they'll have a greater appreciation for it.
Absolutely agree. Absolutely agree. And I feel like it really brings me to thinking about this final four group of people and heading into like this potential fire making challenge, this potential immunity. Because my good sis, Sophi B, who I never doubted, she outmocked, to use the Gen Z language, right? I'm Gen Z. Rob is too, but I'm like the better version of Gen Z than Rob. Sophi B outmocked Savannah in this challenge. She just she ate her up. Like she ended her metaphorically, right? I'm a Savannah fan too. I love Savannah. But this is something that I was taken surprised by, because we're getting, okay, Savannah's a challenge beast. Savannah's a challenge beast. Savannah's just gonna break this record. And I'm like, oh, maybe she's on 50 because she broke this record, right? And to see Sophi come through and get her first and arguably one of the most important individual immunity wins, she ate that. She ate that.
It made me, and again, I love Sophi B, and I don't want no smoke with Sophi B brother, because Sophi B brother don't play about his sister, and so I don't want no smoke with Sophi B or her brother. But like seeing her win that in the end, I was so happy. I was like running around New York, like yes. But then it made me like, 2 episodes ago, girl, you should got rid of Savannah. Like you should have made that move, because now here we are, you win, and now Savannah like, hey, bitch. Hey, good one. Now figure out who you gonna bring to the end so I could bop. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, again, it just seeing that Sophi B did that, and it's like you needed that at that moment. But it's like we were just saying, we working all together, but you gotta know when to knock your best friends out, so that you come into this world alone, you go out this world alone. You gotta put yourself first. But again, respect Sophi's game so much, because it's like you did it, you had it in you. Like I said, each Rizo, Savannah, Sophi B, they all could have won, and like we see it. It made me so excited, but it made me like, if you only would have got rid of Savannah, baby, with this on your resume, hand her $1 million.
Mm-hmm. It kind of to me felt like we beefing. If me and you beefing, Brice, and you send Rob to come fight me, it's like, no, I don't want to fight Rob. Come fight me yourself. Like Savannah, come on. Not Savannah, Sophi B, come on, step down. Let's do this immunity. I don't think to Savannah, of course she won, so that didn't matter that she faced Sophi B. But it's like, no, I want to fight you myself. If I want you to get beat up, I'm not going to send my cousin and my nephew. I'm going to come fight you myself, and I'm gonna meet you at the fire making challenge, and Jeff can be the witness, so he can say who won the fight, who lost the fight. So you can't go and react and say you won the fight when you lost. So it's like in that moment, yes, I'm happy that she turned on them and sent them both into fire against each other, but I think it was that tension of, do I step down and come fight you myself in making this fire?
What you think about that, Rob?
Well, do you think that her stepping down to make the fire would have like done enough to really like give her the edge over like a Rizo and Sage in that moment? Because I think I'm with Brice, where it's like, I wish you just made that move 2 rounds ago, like at 6, so you can have something at 5. And I think there really is something to this, like the sentiment of I would rather get 10th rather than getting second in this game, where I would rather try to make the move that I think sets me up for the win. Now, that doesn't mean just like blindly like turning on my allies, just like willy-nilly, just to try to make a move, like to make a move just to make a move, right? Because you got to have your game set up in rounds to come. But if you can give yourself an edge in this game, you got to take every opportunity that comes that way.
So then let me ask you this, because this is what I also was now debating over, right? Because again, do I just go and sit in the end? Do I just go and be like, I'm gonna go, I'll be in the finale, we'll see what happens. And if you were saying, Rob, give yourself the best chance, I now again, I'm talking from sitting on the comfort of my own home, like watching it, not being out there. Like I'm just talking. But there's a part of me that thinks Chris Underwood, and like you said, you rather go out 10th than just be third with no votes. Not this isn't the case here, but like I definitely think with how Ish shaked out and how many votes Sophi got, if Sophi would have put herself in that fire with Savannah and took Savannah out, or even if she would have took Rizo, her and Rizo, right? Like I think there's a world where if Sophi B was like, I'm gonna go to fire and comes out, I think that's $1 million right there. But it's like, how do you make that decision? Do you just go, Rob, and send me and Tim? Or if you're in Sophie's position, like you said, you want like now on top of you winning this last immunity, you putting yourself down at that fire. I think that's $1 million case right there.
Yeah. I think that's a pretty fair point. Definitely. Especially when it's like, what else can I do to make sure? I guess I'm thinking of Sophi and trying to be like, if I'm now at 4 and I'm trying to keep the same consistent mindset where I just voted out Christina, who maybe would have been a better person to beat Savannah at fire. Like, did I make that decision to vote out Christina for me so I can be the one to take out fire? I guess there's just a lot of like competence and fire like that really goes into like this like nitty gritty debate right there. Just because like if I'm Sophi and I think I can make fire, or it's just like, what is Sophie's objective in this moment? Is it to take Savannah out of the game? Is it to up my resume? Who do I need to be? Like, does Rizo have a better chance of making fire? Is that better for my game? Is it better for my game? Like, even if I'm not a good fire maker to put myself in that spot, I would maybe then argue if I'm Sophi and I think Rizzo's better at making fire than me, then it's a hinder to my game to put myself in that spot. Even if like I somehow do it, it's a better resume builder in that sense. But we've seen crazier things happen in fire. Just the better fire maker isn't always the winner. So I think in that sense, like where it's like, if it is so close between Sophi and Rizo, then yeah, Sophi should have probably made a decision to put herself in that situation to take down Savannah.
Yeah, it's really all about risk because she was already successful and proven to the jury that, hey, I can win immunity. And also, in her decision, she was successful in proving that, hey, y'all, I'm not just loyal to them all the time. Like, I can have my own interests at heart. But I feel like if your goal was to, which she succeeded in, to show the jury she wasn't just loyal to them, it's like, I'm going to show you that I'm not just loyal to them, but I'm going to take them out because I am my number one ally. Like, I got to put me over them. And I'm putting myself over them so much so that I'm willing to risk my game to get them out, to really put the nail in the coffin to their game. I really do think it depends on like her mindset of how much she thought the other two were a threat for her game and for her to win. But ultimately, I do think she succeeded with the goal that she did set, which was to show the jury that she wasn't just their henchman and that she was willing to turn on them.
But I think I guess I was going to go with the idea where it's like your story, like what you tell the jury, like in that final seat, like that spot at FTC, like that's like so meaningful and important. So if Sophie's objective is, I want to show the jury that I was not their henchman and I was able to take them out, well, you have to have a very consistent story where it's like all these moves leading up to that moment, like it proves that, it shows that. So then I would like counter to Sophi in that moment where it's like, well, why didn't you take Rizzo's idol? Why like didn't you take like have a move against these other two people that you were working with the whole game? Like you saw the conversations that Sophi and Sophia were having with each other, where it's like, look, like Sophi acknowledging that she's at the bottom of that 3-person alliance between the Tres Leches. So it's like, where is that move? It's not, it can't just come down to fire where it's like, I'm gonna like split them up and like, or I'm gonna take out one of the two. It's like I need that consistency in your game, so then I don't feel like you're just blowing smoke up my ass at FTC and you're just trying to give me something just to prove that, like, hey, like I kind of answered your question. I kind of played the game that you want me to play, but like, no, like I want to see the consistencies in your game.
I think in another world where she was able to steal Steven's advantage, who knows? Maybe she would have used it that next round to turn on them. But because that happened, we'll never know. And I do think that because it was something that was a blunder that she herself said after that round that, oh, the jury's going to think I'm stupid. I just embarrassed myself. You know, she said something along those lines. It's like that happened in the past. I can't change that. I asked Steven for his advantage, but what can I do now? And I think what she did in that moment at Final Four, Final Five, or in this case, Final Four specifically, like she was successful in turning on them. I just don't think it was enough for the jury to like really sway them over.
But it was enough for the jury to see that clearly she got, she got 4 votes, right?
Yeah, no, she got a two.
I mean, but still in the new era, getting 2 votes, that says something. And again, it makes me think, if you would have went down there and fire and on iron, I want out many. But again, I think Sophi B navigated the game really well. Again, a couple of blunders. And I even say, like, in that, first of all, I hate the knowledge is power, because I feel like, have we ever really seen it successfully used? Like, I don't really believe we have. And I think the lore of it runs more in the game than the actual knowledge is power, because we have seasons where knowledge is power is not even in the season and people are talking about it and people are strategizing about it. Like, I wish she just would have took his idol, and even if she gave it back to him just for the jury to see, like, that's even a move, right? Like, that could have been something that, like, she took it and then they get back, she give it back to him. But like, that could have been something strategic that she could have said to the jury, like, hey, I was working with them, but I needed to show y'all I could snatch a chain if I need to.
Can I say something? It's on topic, but it's off topic. You see that little thing in your background, Brice? It's like to your right. No, the same direction you pointed to. Yep, that direction. Yeah, you get warmer. You get warmer. Up right there. Why did Alex not vote for Sophi? Alex Moore, if you listening, I got beef with you. Now, I loved Alex's game, right? Alex was one of my favorites. I met Alex in person. Alex is an incredibly cool dude. I said it on the pod before. In another world, that's my homeboy. But Alex Moore, Sophi B, who you was on the trial with the whole pre-merge, who was your confidant, who y'all survived all those rounds with, and she made it to the very end, attending almost every single tribal council, you didn't vote for? That was the biggest blind side for me of that final tribal council.
Well, I think that just goes to show you where this game is just bigger than the bonds that you built while you're on the beach, and why Savannah had so much respect for the game that she played. That goes back to the whole like conversation, I guess, with Christina asking the question with Savannah and everything like that. But I think that kind of like shows it, like, in it's just, you can't just be based about the bonds. Like you're out there, you're on the island, you have a relationship with everyone to some degree. And maybe it depends on your perspective of the game of Survivor. Like Alex might have just had a very strategic mindset in how he viewed, how he wanted the winner to represent his season and that game. And maybe Savannah was just more of a embodiment of what he maybe envisioned for a winner.
I think even for the question, in my opinion, to answer your question about why Alex didn't vote for her, in my mind, it's like, yeah, we have been locked in, but you chose Rizo and Savannah over me. Like, and so like that, I think, and it's jury management. And so you can't really be mad at an Alex per se for maybe not voting for him, where it's like, me and you, technically, Alex and Sophie, we've been through the storm more than you, Rizo, and Savannah. And so maybe Alex is feeling like you kind of left me out. I don't know. That was
Mhm.
the thing, because that was a good question. But I was thinking to
And I
myself, like,
think, mhm.
no, that's it.
Oh, I think that it makes more sense now that we didn't see any kind of conclusion conversation between them, because I think that Sophie B tweeted on Twitter before that they didn't show that conversation. So a conversation was had before Alex was voted
He
out.
stay on Twitter, Rob.
Okay, Lord forbid a man be on the Bird app, right? But
Spoiler.
apparently, no, not spoiling. Definitely not. Listen, I'm staying off the internet for 50. No shade to this community, but call me
You already
Amish.
spoiled us, so like you might as
No,
well just stay on.
the only thing that was spoiled for 50 is Savannah and Rizzo was on there. And that is how it's staying. Like, I don't know nothing else outside of we're gonna talk about it, all these celebrities, but that's a different story for a couple minutes later. But yeah, but I said it to say it all makes sense why we saw what we saw and we didn't see what we didn't see.
Yeah.
I do want to highlight Sage's game because we've talked a lot about Savannah's and we talked a lot about Sophie's, but I really think that Sage played a very underrated game and has not gotten the respect of the Survivor community at large or of the Survivor players on the beach. I thought she was a player that wasn't just she was emotional, but she didn't play emotionally except for the one round that truly impacted her game, which was the round after Jawan was voted out when Sophie was voted out. I think that was maybe her blunder, but I do really think that she played a very strong middle game where every vote, it really came down to what's Sage going to do? What direction is she thinking? From the beginning of the merge all the way to Steven's vote at 5, she played such a critical job in making sure that each of those players that went out in the order that they did. I think the one real negative thing you can say about Sage's game from the perspective of the jury, which is really just that, like, Sage, like, we all have the viewpoint that Savannah and Rizo, like, they are strong players. We should have gotten them out when we did. But, like, I think from Sage's, like, perspective too, where it's like but like going in their direction of like working with like the old Hina members and everything like that, like maybe wasn't the best decision for her game at those times. Like she was screaming like, let's get rid of Savannah, let's get rid of Rizo the whole freaking game. But at those moments when Hina was ready to make that move, it wasn't good for Sage's game because of whatever direction she really saw. But I think she's gotten so much hate for such a great game that she played.
Agree. I couldn't agree more with you. I feel like Sage, again, for her to be the only one of her tribe up there, right? She's the only one of her tribe. Like for her to have lasted, for her and Jawan to be so pivotal after the merge, right? Like y'all not putting enough respect on her name, even when she got Shannon out, right? Like she was on the outs. Nobody was messing with her. She had to come up, make her own connection. And so I really think her and Jawan killed it. I do agree that, like, I feel like her kryptonite was getting rid when they got rid of Jawan. I feel like her game kind of struggled a little bit, and people oftentimes are like they should have took Savannah out instead of taking Sophie S out. But I stand with Sage that if I'm your closest ally and they take me out the game, shoot them. When you I want it to happen immediately. Don't wait. But and again, I don't care if it is the detriment of your game, which we see that it was. I have so much respect that, like, she took Sophie S out when she did because she took Jawan from her. Now, was it the smartest thing? I don't know. But I agree with you, Rob. I think that Sage played such a solid game. And shout out to Jawan for giving Sage that vote. And so she wasn't just a no vote finalist. She out there and she got a vote. Hats off to him. It reminds me of James Jones and his season when he threw a vote to Cassidy. And so Cassidy got a vote. And again, that just speaks to their dynamic. But I am 1,000% with you, Rob. I feel like I don't understand the Sage hate. Like I'm confused.
Right. And I see it like this. If we saying that Savannah is the Beyonce, I feel like Sage is the Aretha Franklin, where she really, to me, no shade to Savannah.
Time out. Rob, 2 seconds. Tim. Rob.
Okay, I know Aretha Franklin. I can't name any songs off the top of my head, but I know who she is.
Okay. We'll take that. Sorry, we gotta check in with our brother Rob. Go ahead,
That's
Tim.
fair. That's fair. I feel like she's the Aretha Franklin in this comparison because it's like she did it in a way that other people wouldn't understand. And I feel like a lot of people on the jury or even people on the internet now just aren't understanding it in a way that is taken or in a way that the music itself speaks or the moves that Sage herself made to me speaks for herself because she found herself in a position almost every time where her vote was pivotal and she didn't have any advantages. She didn't have any idols. All she had was her social game. I feel like if Sage was seeing herself in her game on the island in a mentality that Savannah had, Sage would have been unstoppable. Because I think when it came to the final tribal council and her performance, I think that if she were to have owned up to her moves and to really spoke on her strategic game and say, yes, I put all of y'all here on the jury,
Mm.
as opposed to, hey, I'm sorry if I hurt you by putting you on the jury. I think like those two things being different, because I think people would have respected that kind of authoritarian standpoint of like, this is something I did versus the emotional point in this moment. Because I don't want to take away from being emotional, because I think that is a big strength. I say that as a triple cancer. You know, Gary, you know, when y'all do purple pants premonitions, Gary can speak to what that means. And for folks who don't know, they can go check that out. But I'm a triple cancer. So I'm never going to put people being emotional on a back burner. But I think all in all, Sage had a great game, arguably one of the best strategic games of 49. And I'll end it there.
I'll go on record and say this. Well, one, I was listening to Sharon Sharp's exit interviews and hers with Sage. Sage says she felt a lot of, like, I don't want to use hate, but like she felt a lot of resistance from the jury and their questions. And so she says, like, even when you watch the episode, it seems like she's being combative. And she's like, I only was that way because of how they were coming at me. So that was interesting. Hot take. I think of the final three that were up there, I think, and even Rizo, Sage, Rizo, Savannah, and Sophie B. I think outside of Savannah's gameplay, I think Sage had the second best. Only in the sense Rizo and Sophie B were working with Savannah. So it's like Sage had the only other gameplay that wasn't in a line with them. And I think that that counts for something. And so, yeah, we should put some respect on Sage's name.
I think, I don't think that's the craziest hot take. I think when you take away the emotion that people might have like for the players on the beach and just like write down on paper the moves and the positions where they were at the time when that happened, I think on paper, Sage looks like she has a very winnable game, which I really do think she does. But it really just came down to the perception that people had of her, like at Final Tribal. I think about, like, I'm not a big Brother person, but I did watch a little bit of this past season, but with Ashley winning that season where she was seen as like a GOAT for most of the season, but she goes into the final two and really did a great job of explaining her game, taking a lot of the emotion out of it, and really showed that she was intentional at the right time. So I agree with Tim, where it's like if Sage was able to do that, I think it could have gone a long way for Sage.
And last thing I'll say on that, pen to paper, Sage's moves, she writing paragraphs, she writing essays. Some of our faves might be writing some, just a couple sentences. I'll leave it there.
And with Sage dropping that military intelligence gems on us, I'm like, oregano, paprika, what is going on? Like, yeah. Put some respect on Sage.
Okay, no shade. I'm not gonna lie. I love Sage, right? But it did feel very, and I love Sue too. It feels very, I'm not actually 45. Like, it's like, okay, that's awesome.
Okay. Wait, because I was like, wait, I didn't know what you're
beautiful gowns.
Yeah, beautiful gowns.
Beautiful gowns.
That's fair too, because it's like, okay, let's see the examples of where you were able to use your military intelligence in this game of Survivor, not just from that, like, counteract that aspect of the emotionality that she was able to kind of just use in the game for her benefit.
Now,
all the strategic moves she was making with Jawan.
But where was she? Where was her explanation to really like go on explaining her moves? It was just I need that, Sage. I need that.
I agree. I think that Sage definitely did herself a disservice in Tribal, where I felt like a lot of Sage's answers were like kind of short and like not really, they weren't open-ended, right? I kind of, but again, and watching Sharon Sharp's interview, I think that we can get a better understanding of like Sage's mindset where she was at. But no, I was with you. I was like, I was rooting for you. We all were rooting for you. I felt like she didn't deliver like I would have wanted her to deliver in those moments.
But right, in the context of how she was being asked the questions, it's like, this is all I can really do for myself in that moment. Yeah.
Rob, I know you know this. You have a sibling that is Gen Z, and you have another sibling who's Gen Alpha.
Right? I got two Gen Alpha.
What's their names? What's their names, Tim?
You got Olivia, period. That's one of them. And the younger brother's name, he has a name. He has a name.
I'm impressed that you got Olivia.
I have a student in my class this semester named Olivia, and that's why I remembered. I'm like, okay, Olivia, I like that name.
Rob, what's Tim's brother's name?
I can't.
Let me go get him out this room.
He's like, he's 12 years old. Man, you play Fortnite with him. I feel like Savannah again, you know, like at FTC. Man, what's your brother?
It took me, Rob, it took me like 6. You didn't been saying FTC. The 4th time that you said it, I was like, are we talking about a baseball field? But I had just picked up when you just said it, Final Tribal Council.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. So it's Tyler. He's 13, right?
Oh,
right. And so let me get you here. So I say that to say, we all can agree we are all survivor peeled. And there's this one contestant who, I'm going to just say it, the RIZGOD, who I feel like his survivor game, he was mewing the whole time. Like, he put the skibbity in the Riz. He was mogging for Gen Z representation, right? He did that successfully. I think he avoided crashing out the whole season. He played his idol and stunted on everybody else who didn't have an idol. I want to talk about the game of my Gen Z king, Rizo, because I think it was amazing.
I think he had, I mean, I loved it too. I think he had a lot of say in the direction of how votes really unfolded, which I think is kind of, and now that might just be like the edit that we're getting like from Survivor. It could be like a Xander from 41 kind of perspective. So you never really know how the players on the beach. I wish, did we get a question at the reunion from Jeff where it's like, had Rizo been there instead of Savannah, who would have won? Did we get that? I don't think we got that. Did we?
I don't think so.
Like that would have been something I would have loved to hear because I wanted to know how the players, like after Tribal Council, perceived Rizzo's game in comparison to Savannah's. But I loved the game that Rizo did because I think he had a lot of influence. I think his stuff with the idol got a little bit old by the end, and I wish he was able to use it in a way that was so showboaty instead of just playing on himself when he didn't really need to. But I love the game, especially from a Gen Z player. From Gen Z players who don't often get a lot of respect. And you can maybe tell me more about that, Tim.
Maybe you'll find out more soon. Who knows, right? Well, you know, wink, wink.
As Gen Z adjacent, I enjoyed Rizzo's game as well, right? Where I also feel like with that idol, I know it got a little repetitive, but again, I felt like he didn't run from the idol, right? I feel like he used it as a tool and that I think his greatest gift of the idol was that I didn't really need it. Well, he needed it, but he didn't really need to use it. And I would have been so curious to see Rizo in the end, to hear how he would have described his game. Because the one thing that I loved the most about Rizo from a viewer was seeing how flashy he was in tribal council, but knowing he had connections on the beach, knowing when we talk about his family, we talk about the Liz God, his girlfriend or his brother, he would get emotional, right? Like he wasn't scared to go there with us. So I felt like he had this balance of being, like y'all say, a Gen Z-esque, but also being mature, being emotionally available, and playing such a flashy game. I really enjoyed watching the Riz game, and I will go on record as saying when Tim spoiled for me early on that Riz and Savannah were going to be on it, I'm like, who the hell is the Riz guy? Like, I'm like, I already went into it thinking like I'm not going to like the Riz guy. I'm gonna be over him. But episode 1, he stole my heart, and I think I'm excited to see him on 50, and I think that he played a very solid game.
Yes, and as we get ready to wrap, I want to share a couple thoughts real quick on Savannah's game because I loved it. I think she's an amazing winner. I'm super excited to see her on 50. Also, I think it's a very well-deserved spot. And this 50 trailer, y'all, rapid fire thoughts. I'm like, who is Zach Brown? Oh, Rob, not to put you on the spot here. I'm like, I need a Denzel Washington block of vote. I need a Fantasia idol nullifier. Like, I'm trying to see other celebrities. Like, we got the Tyler Perry super idol from all that time ago.
It wasn't that long ago, but
okay, you're right. You know, but Brice, you are also Gen Z. You're only 20, so it's
True.
like you are in our generation also. So don't forget that. See, I'm excited for 50. We're gonna see how it work out, but I'm excited to see so many of my faves coming back. Shout out to Tiff.
yes.
I know it was a very awkward show. Maybe I felt like it was awkward, but it totally caught me off guard that the fact that like all of these celebrities, like the Billie Eilish idol, Jimmy Fallon somehow having like a determining factor in Christian's game, like it honestly made me a little upset in that moment because it's like what's Survivor production doing to the game that I love? Why do all of these celebrities now have a say in the game? Like, I know that like Jeff was talking about how like Survivor 50 is for the fans, but like why do these 4 people have more of a say in it than us apparently? Like, why the hell is Mr. Beast and Beast Games coming onto the beach with a briefcase? Like, that just doesn't feel so Survivor for me. So I think I went to sleep a little mad at Survivor production, but then I woke up the next morning thinking about it a little more, where it's like, okay, like Jeff is not going to truly mess with the game. The game design is the game design, but I think he definitely wants to bring in more of these like influencing like cultural like phenomenons into the game to either like draw interest, but not necessarily interrupt the flow of the game. Maybe they have like a twist or an idol that maybe Billie Eilish like came up with in some sort of way that Jeff okayed in that sense. I don't know. Like, I was thinking about it, but for season 20 of like Survivor Maryland that I hosted, like I had brought in Tori and we had like the Tori twist, and like we had like collaborated where it's like, how do we like do you have like an idea, Tori, of like what you would maybe want to see integrated like into like our game or something like that? And that's how we kind of went through like those steps in production to figure out like how we could have like the Billie Eilish idol, but not just be like some blunder, ridiculous twist that the fans and the players playing the game are not going to enjoy because it's not the true aspect of Survivor. So I think I woke up the next morning a little bit more understanding that of what Jeff and production of Survivor like want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, watching it, I'm like, why is Mr. Beast on here? Right, and like you said, Tim, it made me feel like, is it in the hands of the fans or is season 50 in the hands of the advertisers? Right, like I didn't know. And right, it's like I just think with all these twists, I'm sure that they'll be great. But for me, it's like I want to like season 50. Like, let's go. Like, it's a celebration of 25 years. Like, where for me, it's almost like let's go back to the basics. Let's go back to like just give us good Survivor. However, like you, I woke up the next morning And I'm like, you know what? Regardless, I got Ozzy. We have Coach coming back, right? The way that I am like salivating for some Coach isms in my confessionals. We have my mother Cerie. We have
Yes.
Quintavious. We have Aubrey. We have Christian Ubicki. We got Colby. Like, I mean, again, the gay little Brice. When I started getting into Survivor, like I am so excited. I don't know about the Billie Irish or the Jimmy Fallon. I don't know about all that stuff, but I'm excited. And listen, in the hands of the advertisers, like, but I also feel like they are trying to, with season 50, and especially with Mr. Beast, because he's so big. I feel like they're trying to attract the younger generation, right? Because like that's kind of been the thing of Survivor. So I think, I know Survivor. Well, actually, I don't know, but I have high hopes for Survivor 50. And I'm very excited for it. I'm also very excited that I get to be on my favorite show this week. It's been such a pleasure having you two on the podcast network, should we say, and just delivering great content. I feel like you guys have been doing this before you came over to the Purple Pants podcast. Season 1 was great, but I definitely feel like season 2 exponentially, that ain't even a word, but exponentially so amazing, so great. Love hearing your takes. I felt like I was texting y'all throughout the season, just giving like, I love the energy, guys, that you guys brought, and I'm just so grateful to work with you. And so thank you for an amazing Split the Vote season.
Yes, and thank you so much, Brice. Like, truly, I know we're coming close on time, but y'all have been in the hands of Split the Vote and Brice, our listeners. Shout out to the posse. Shout out to everybody who's tuned in, episode, the whole season. We really appreciate it. Truly,
No, I can't say enough for the guidance and feedback we've gotten from Brice, and being able to spend all this time with you, Tim, of course. Like, it's not just like we're hopping on to the pod once a week just to talk for like an hour. Like, we're texting almost every single day, trying to figure out like what kind of direction and where we're headed and everything. So really, it's been a pleasure. And honestly, I'm just thankful for everyone too who chooses to tune in and listen to us just yap about the show that we love. Like, I can't be more thankful for the posse.
absolutely. But it's been Tim.
It's been Rob.
It's been Brice.
It's been Split the Vote season 2. Peace.
Why would you give